Good evening, everybody. Welcome here to another edition here of the Man of Steel podcast. So, of course, yours truly, Charles Prodigy Richey. And tonight, we pay homage and tribute to the late Franco Harris, who last week passed away due to a heart attack uh, late last Tuesday, December 20, last week as it relates, December 20th. Franco Harris, who passed away at the age of 72. Truly one of the key figures in the Steeler franchise and how much he would help contribute to changing the fortunes around on top of guys behind Chuck Nolan, the grafting, and me, Joe Green, died on December 20th, sleep due to a heart attack, 72. And this presence was definitely felt. Former four-time Super Bowl champion, uh, and Pro Football Hall of Famer. He also made the Pro Bowl 9 times, which is the second most by any running back in NFL history. One-time All-Pro, All-Decade team, and for the 1970s, he was also the Offensive Rookie of the Year in 1972. And of course, definitely will forever remember him for the immaculate reception that happened in Three Rivers Stadium in the first ever playoff win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dan Rooney, who had the opening statement following the next day on the loss of Franco, I quote, "It's difficult to find the appropriate words to describe Franco Harris's impact on the Pittsburgh Steelers. His teammates, the city of Pittsburgh, and Steeler Nation," Rooney said, "from his rookie season, which included immaculate reception for the next 50 years. Franco brought joy to people on and off the field. He never stopped giving back in so many ways. He touched so many, and he was loved by so many. Our thoughts and prayers are with his wife, Dana, his son, Doc, and his extended family at this difficult time." He did, in his career, which is basically all summarized, he basically spent 12 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers from 1972 to 1983. He did play one lone season with the Seattle Seahawks, finished his career where he started 6 out of 8 games. Not really much of an impact there. He only had 68 rushes for 170 yards in that season. I mean, he would go on to finish about, I mean, for he would finish up 192 yards shy of Jim Brown's rushing record at the point in time. Jim Brown had 12,312. Franco Harris had 12,120 yards off of 2,949 attempts when his career came to an end. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, he had this to say on Franco's passing. He meant so much to Steelers fans as a Hall of Fame running back who helped form the nucleus of the team's dynasty of the 70s, but he was so much more. He was a gentle soul who touched so many in the Pittsburgh community and the entire NFL. From best, I mean, his words can't begin to describe the pain I am feeling. The boss would say, "Franco will always be a brother, mentor, and my definition of greatness. He was a legend on the field and personification of excellence off of the field. A true class act to look up to and aspire to be like Rip number 32. Najee, who also chimed in, he's like family, you know what I mean." Najee Harris said, Mayor Ed Gainey also said that Pittsburgh, they lost a legend today. I ask that you join me in praying for my family and friends of Franco Harris. Not only was the greatest running back in history of Steelers, but a great man off field whose kindness and generosity was felt by so many. And I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, we definitely remember him for what he contributed as a Pittsburgh Steeler. But when you look at all those teammates that are part of him, I mean, they were on that era that went on to win 4 Super Bowls in the 70s, also 8 playoff appearances during that time. I mean, you think of every one of those guys, including Franco, they were all iconic. They were like the immortals of the game right there. I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, he was just so many ways where he just really was a stand-up guy. Many people will definitely argue that the Pittsburgh Steelers' success and who they truly became, Pittsburgh Steelers, began in 1972. I remember the first decade when the Steelers came into existence in the NFL, they were known as Pittsburgh Pirates. They did make one playoff appearance about 25 years prior, which was in 1947. And the rule at that time is, I think it was two division, the winners of each division, which would be two in the conference, would face off for the NFL championship. Now, if there was a tie for the division lead, there would be a playoff. So it won't be a tiebreaker back in that time. The Pittsburgh Steelers were then tied with the Philadelphia Eagles, who they did lose to in that playoff series back in 1947, which the Eagles would go on to win the NFL championship. The record for that year for the Steelers in 1947, they were 8-4 that year, and they will get shut out by the Eagles 21-0. The Eagles would then, in that same playoff, they would then go on to defeat the. I mean, they would lose the championship to the Chicago Cardinals right there, the NFL championship. I think I'm wrong there, but yeah, that's basically what ended up happening. But since then, I mean, the Eagles from that point they will definitely go on to win back-to-back championships after being the Steelers for their one and only playoff appearance. I remember the Steelers being shut out. They did not score an offensive touchdown ever in the playoffs. That didn't happen until 1972. I mean, which was a game, a play that will forever be mixed reviews. Beneficial for the Steelers, no doubt about it, but also controversy on the other side, which we call the immaculate reception. In the Raiders' eyes, it was an immaculate deception. Now, again, this was the Steelers' only playoff touchdown ever, which came in that one, and where they would win that game. And the Steelers in that game, who were just both sides were just playing great defense, pretty much through most of the ball game at that point. And if you looked at it right there, I mean, they had an incredible season where the Steelers went 11-3 in that contest. I mean, the very first score didn't happen until around the third quarter, where the Steelers would go up 3-0, and then another field goal by the Steelers are up 6-0. With a little over a minute to go, you had Kent Stabler at the time, who was a quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. He tied the game a 30-yard rushing touchdown. They went ahead 7-6 with a successful extra point attempt. And the rule at the time for the immaculate reception, the play that did happen where Terry Bradshaw was trying to target John Richey, if the ball were the ricochet, basically, off an offensive player twice. I mean, basically in that game right there, if it hit an offensive player twice, then it would be considered an illegal play. Because here's the thing, though. Because if the ball bounced off only Tatum of the Steelers, I mean, it's Tatum of the Raiders, that game who was defending Frenchie Fuqua, who collided with Fuqua, if it bounced off both a defensive and offensive player, or vice versa, whatever order, and then it was grabbed by an offensive player of the Steelers, it was considered a legal play. And that's the thing, though. So if it was bounced off Fuqua and our Steeler touched the ball, it would be considered a double touch, and that was done an incomplete pass, bottom line of that game. And definitely one of the officials who was marked with controversy in that. Of course, you had the official in that game who was refereeing that game was Fred Swearingen right there, who was a guy who was a scorer to the dugout at Three Rivers Stadium. He would go on to go to a phone booth, make a phone call to question the play. Never confirmed who he spoke to, according to John Madden. But the biggest, conspiracy according to Al Davis at that time too. Because remember, when the Steelers did score that touchdown, I mean, to go on to win that game, 13-7, fans immediately stormed onto the field after the touchdown was scored, and like while the officials were still waiting for the call, they kind of came to the conclusion, you know what, let's not overturn this. We'll just let it stand as a touchdown and trust that the ball did bounce off Tatum, and then it was caught by Franco Harris. Oh, that was the biggest thing right there. Fritz Sweargen, like I said, he approached to a sideline official. Jim Boss has to be taken to a telephone, and it was not supported by other accounts. But from the dugout, Boston put in the call to the press box to reach the NFL supervisors of officials. But either way, at the end of the day, this was a significant play. And not only that, though, too, Franco Harris, I really feel like he brought a swagger to that Steelers organization. Because if we think about it, let's just check this out, including with the drafting of guys like when Chuck Noll came into the picture and Dan Rooney was starting to take a hand on things and working with Bill Nunn, who started architecturing this team. I mean, you had in the draft, I mean, for the Pittsburgh Steelers at that time, you started it off with Mean Joe Green, then of course later on uh, Terry Bradshaw, then later on it was Jack Ham, if I'm not mistaken, that would fall. Just some key building components. I mean, right there. I mean, you also had Andy Russell, who was a huge, long time mainstay for this team. I mean, who was there for at least 6 years prior to Chuck Noll's arrival. I mean, he had a 14-year career as a Pittsburgh Steeler. One season he had to do a military practice. But anyway, like I said, I mean, the drafting at that time, I mean, you had Mean Joe Green. And of course, I mean, before they long got Terry Bradshaw, they already had our quarterback and Terry Hanratty. But Terry Bradshaw, who was the number one overall pick in 1970. Then, of course, you also had other key pieces, Jack Ham, who came in there, and then Franco Harris. I mean, truly. I mean, for a team right here, I mean, their overall record was 168, 270, and 18. They were 102 games under 500 with only one playoff appearance and where they got blanked to the Philadelphia Eagles in the championship final with a career record of 168, 271, and 18. Since Franco Harris's arrival, big turnaround. They won 503 regular season games with 331 losses and four ties. I mean, ever since then. And you really think about it right there. And then they also had 32 playoff appearances, which makes the grand total 33 altogether, 36 and 26 in the playoffs. I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. Coupled with the fact they went to 6 out of 8 Super Bowls, going 6-2 right there. He was definitely a magnificent piece in there. I mean, right there. I mean, Phil Valpiano, who was saying that no way that play should have counted, according to Valpiano, who was a linebacker who actually got tripped up during the play. He has said that to many people. So the Raiders, that play wasn't immaculate. It was illegitimate. The only thing that was received was home cooking from the game officials, they say. And Mike Tomlin, believe it or not, who actually, remember, he just turned 50 years old. He was, at that point in time, I mean, if you think about it, 9 months old. just let that sink in for a minute. I mean, for the moment. About 9 months old, this play happens, or over 8 months, excuse me. He said that he was in section 135 with his folks. He says that I think it's funny. Surprisingly, I probably met 75,000 people that were there that day, according to Mike Tomlin to the media last Tuesday. It's just one of those beautiful things in the history of our game. It's humbling to be in close proximity to it, to work for his organization, to understand its impact on the organization, the career it spawned, and Franco Harris, a Gold Jacket career, what it did for them in terms of changing the trajectory of that season, what's done for that franchise. No doubt about it. I mean, just really just think about everything that he's embodied. I mean, what he's just given back. I mean, overall the community. I mean, just his personal life and stuff. I mean, it was just sad to lose before the retirement ceremony because remember his jersey announcement came a day or two after Labor Day weekend of this year. Let's not forget. I mean, so that would have been September 6th where they made the announcement. Definitely surprised him, no doubt about it. But immediately after his death, many gave public tributes. Terry Bradshaw, who found out about Harris's death from his wife after seeing a text message from Mel Blunt, had just seen Harris 2 weeks prior. They were filming material related to the Immaculate Reception's anniversary. I was in a state of shock. Bradshaw praised Harris, saying that as a teammate, he was just the best. And I mean, it's just definitely a remarkable life right here. They got dedication to him on NFL Network, A Football Life by Franco Harris, which also came out this past weekend. They got it on YouTube already. The quality does not seem as good, but if you guys had a chance to GVR, I please suggest you do right there, or see if you can find it on the NFL app. I'm not sure if it's on there, but I would imagine it is. I mean, Harris and Little Mitchell, successful college team at Penn State, co-owned Super Bakery, a company founded in 1960, produced nutrition-oriented foods for school children. Business was renamed the Our Superfoods in 2006. Our Superfoods produces a super donut that has been served to students in public schools in the eastern United States. Harris Mitchell also partnered in 1996 to rescue the Park Sausage Company in Baltimore, first African American owned business to go public in the U.S. And 2007, Harris was a paid representative for the Harris and Forest City Enterprises, the single plan for downtown Pittsburgh. And January 2011 became co-owner of the Pittsburgh Passion. And just a lot of stuff. I mean, just piles on and on. And just to have him voted for the greatest play all time ever in Steeler history right there. I mean, for that moment, what they did, I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, what they've done. And the Steelers, I mean, who definitely, I mean, during that time of the Super Bowl era, I mean, having 10 Hall of Famers, I mean, which is the second most behind Cincinnati's Green Bay Packers in the 60s with Park Star, a lot of those guys right there. I mean, just think about just what transcended. I mean, it was just an amazing career and just an amazing man at the end of the day. For what he's meant to, I mean, so much. I mean, forever. I mean, for just being an icon. I mean, for a guy who was born and raised in Fort Dix, New Jersey, and what he's done. I mean, just being mixed Italian and black, it was just such a beautiful life at the end of the day for what he did and everything. Just what he meant. And if anything, I mean, just what I'm gonna remember Franco Harris for is just his character, the way his enthusiasm was. I mean, my favorite memories of him were the last 2 years, especially when he joined in on Zoom during the first year of the pandemic. I surprised Missy Matthews and a host or two, getting pumped up for the 2020 NFL draft. Remember the Steelers' first pick in the draft didn't come until the second or third round where they got Chase Claypool. And then, of course, if you remember, he announced the Steelers, very first pick in 2021, where he announced Pat Fryermuth in that one. He came out to announce the second draft pick, and he mispronounced his name by saying Freermuth. And Fryermuth said he always gave him crap about that, and he had fun with it. I remember the first time I met him, I apologize if he pronounced my name wrong. But Fryermuth did say I just built that relationship through that, and him announcing my pick was a huge honor. I've learned more about his legacy and his time in Pittsburgh. If any of you guys want to check out the clip of him announcing it, I'm pulling it up right now here on YouTube. It was just an incredible moment. And then also him to announce the Steelers are 20th overall back in 2022. And here we go, pulling up right now. Just give me just another second here. But yeah, definitely been a sad week, no doubt. Anybody who would just hear the name Franco, you know the man who he is, and just always touches so many, not just in the NFL, but people who just knew him.
Thank you for that nice Cleveland welcome. But I do want to say hello to my Cleveland friends. And here we go, Steelers! Yeah, Steelers, here we go. With the 55th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Pat Freiermuth from Penn State University, tight
end. Freiermuth, there you go. Just an honor. Just his enthusiasm, how he just meant to him. So I had an honor to be at the game this past weekend. I had a ticket bought for. Sorry I did not get a chance to take so many pics, but let me just say this. I did not drive. I was taking public transportation. I was initially supposed to take Amtrak. That fell through. And then I had to switch over to flying. And let me just tell you, the adventures trying to fly out from a place like Chicago, when there's any type of severe weather with snow and freezing temperature, it was a nightmare trying to get there. So many flight delays and cancellations. My thoughts and prayers are with all family, friends, loved ones who had any Christmas or holiday New Year plans trying to get out. I was flying Southwest. Thankfully, I was able to leave out of there quarter after 10 and get there after midnight and then go sleep till 4:30 in the morning trying to get out, get a ride to my hotel. But anyway, yeah, just an incredible icon was just meant for so many years. If I'm just leave anything to remember about Freiermuth, Franco Harris, just how he always just managed to stay humble. He was just very charitable, like a lot of many men are. And he always just wasn't shy to be a part of the organization and just make his presence known and touch others. I think that's what continues to remind us with spirit of Christmas right here. To just happened. Hope everyone had a great Christmas. Freiermuth did go on to say, in regards to his relationship with Franco, I just built that relationship through that. Him announcing my pick was a huge honor, Freiermuth said. I've learned more about his legacy and his time in Pittsburgh. It was tough hearing the news this morning, according to Freiermuth. We had a great relationship. I was told to follow him and his legacy of how to be a Steeler. And Freiermuth, who currently hosts a radio segment called Chalk Talk every Tuesday night with Craig Wolfley at the Giant Eagle Market District, Robinson Township. And speaking of Freiermuth, too, he made a huge play to help have the game winning score against the Vegas Raiders. Just want to sum that up real quick. I know they get a chance to mention much. and I was out for a while. Sorry for being away a long time. Just had a rough month, dealing with some things that are beyond my control, but trying to make this thing work. And I do apologize for the long, layoff. But yeah, week 16, Steelers who almost should have been down by multiple times. This game should have been over a long time ago by the Raiders. Derek Carr, who had pivotal 3 interceptions in that game, he was being benched this weekend. The Raiders are just about eliminated from the playoffs. We're still mathematically alive, but have not been officially eliminated. But in the contest right there, Pat Fryermuth, no, not Fryermuth, excuse me, it was George Pickens who actually caught the game-winning touchdown pass. I take that back. But in that game, it was just pathetic right there. What the Steelers were able to score in that contest right there. I mean, they only had, I mean, 13 points, which had to be the same number of points they scored 50 years ago to beat the Oakland Raiders at the time, 13-7. Score result, but 13 points scored each way right there. The Pittsburgh Steelers had an 88-yard drive that was in for a field goal, and then a 55-yard drive for an additional 3 for 6 points. And then their second largest drive of the night, which was a 76-yard drive right there, where George Pickens caught a 14-yard pass from Pickett, and they kicked the extra point 13-10. And the Steelers would get another game-sealing interception in that contest right there. So, by the way, which leads into the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, transitioning for Franco Harris. Just want to continue to wish my condolences to his wife and his kid and the Harris family right now. Just very sad to see him go. But anyway, with that being said, the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, they're still alive in the AFC playoff picture. They were needing some help from the LA Chargers, but they did beat the Indianapolis Colts on Monday night to win and seal currently the 6th playoff seed for right now. They could still drop a spot, I would imagine. They won that game 20-3. And Jeff Saturday, who's been 0-4 since his opening win. Right now, the standings look like this in the AFC conference right now. Of course, you got the Bills, Chiefs, the Bengals, and then the Jaguars, your division leaders, with only 2 divisions being clinched by the Bills and the Chiefs right now. The wild cards shakes out right now. The Ravens are currently the number 5 seed, while the Chargers are the 6th seed. And then the Dolphins right now, who are clinging on to dear life. Tua Tagovailoa, who will be going to concussion protocol for the 3rd time this season, beginning with the Bills in Miami this past year, back in week 3. Then, of course, later on, less than that week, who played against the Bengals. I remember he showing some signs like within like the spine, I believe it was, which fell into the protocol of concussion protocol to be checked out. He ended up playing, but he actually got taken out of that game during the Bengals in that Thursday night loss. And then once again, losing to the Green Bay Packers, who are still alive right now at 7-8. So right now, the Steelers, they would need the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Jets, and either the Jaguars or the Titans to lose out, basically. Because remember, here's the thing right now, which could get very interesting, the Week 18, should things shake out the way they are, if they could have, right now, Jaguars lose 8 and 9, Titans will get the division. The Steelers could grab the wild card spot as long as the Dolphins lose out, along with the Patriots and the Jets. The Dolphins need to lose out, and then the Patriots and Jets would need to lose out the rest of the way, basically. The way it looks. And Bridgewater right now, he'll be filling in. Teddy Bridgewater, he'll be filling in for Tua this weekend, as the Miami Dolphins will take on the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. Patriots are 2.5 favorites according to OddsShark. Jets will take on the Seahawks in Seattle. Jets are 1.5 point favorites right now at this point. Seattle, who's having an interesting season right now, they're still alive in a playoff hunt as it appears for right now. As Seattle Seahawks right now, they are about, it looks like a half game out from the Washington Commanders. There you have it. I mean, if you think about, like I said, the previous Christmas, the miracles the Steelers have had in their history, they are 6-5 all time when needing help. I mean, 1976 needed a Raiders win, and the Steelers had to beat the Orioles in the final week of the season. Both those things happened. Steelers got in the playoffs by winning the division. 1977, they needed a win plus a Oilers win over the Bengals right there in that year. And where the Steelers would eventually be one and done to the Denver Broncos. They would clinch the division with the Oilers beating the Bengals, who they lost the Bengals, I believe it was the week before, which was, or like, excuse me, 2 weeks before. No, week before the last season, basically, week 13. I mean, the Oilers would beat the Bengals. Steelers would hang on to beat the Chargers 10-9. They would go on to lose to the Broncos for the eventual Super Bowl representatives in the AFC. Then, of course, 1989, they needed a win plus a Raiders, Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals loss. Steelers needed a win. That happened. They won a playoff game against the Orioles, which is Chuck Noll's revenge against the Houston Oilers coach at that point in time, as everyone recalls, for the Oilers, who was just an antagonist in Chuck Noll's eyes. And, of course, Jerry Glanville. And, of course, you had other ones, too. 1993, they needed a win, plus a Jets and Raiders or Dolphins lost. Steelers beat the Browns. Dolphins lost to the Patriots. And the Patriots and the Jets lost to the Oilers. They got in. They lost to the opening round to the Kansas City Chiefs. 2015, they needed a win plus a Jets loss. Steelers won. Jets lost to the Bills. Steelers would be eliminated in the second round to the Broncos. And then last year, of course, they needed a win plus a close loss. And the Raiders versus Chargers could not tie. Steelers finished off 9-7-1, one and done versus Chiefs. And the only times that failed was 2000, 2009, 2013, 18, and 19. I mean, the last time the Steelers really needed a lot of help was 2013. They needed a win plus a Dolphins, Jets, Ravens, and Chargers loss. Steelers beat the Browns, Dolphins lost to the Jets, and the Ravens lost to the Bengals, and the Chargers beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs needed to beat the Chargers. There was a missed illegal formation call where a 5-yard penalty was supposed to have been called. It should have been called plus a re-kick, which was supposed to be beginning in 2013, according to the competition committee, for a rule and where teams were not allowed on defense to have more than 6 players on either side of the snapper. Steelers would have their playoff hopes dashed. Unfortunately, they finished out 8-8. They could got in at 500 in that year. So we shall see what happens right now. Some roster updates. According to this, Brooke Pryor reports the Steelers have opened the practice window for quarterback Killer Witherspoon, who has been on IR with a hamstring injury. M. Hayward earns AFC Defensive Player of the Week after a monster game this past Saturday. 7 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 1 pass defense. Steelers have signed linebacker Tay Crowder to the 53-man roster out the Giants practice squad. And linebacker Marcus Allen, IR. Pittsburgh has also signed safety Scott Nelson's team's practice squad. Coach Tomlin on the injuries. Marcus Allen had bicep surgery yesterday. Miles Jack groin, and Trey Norwood hamstring. And he expects Terrell Edmonds to be available on Sunday night. Remember, this game has been flexed to a Sunday night game. Ravens listed 12 on the injury report going into this game for this And the players that are on that injury report are defensive end, Calais Campbell dealing with knee injury, Lamar Jackson, knee, right tackle Morgan Moses, rest, Marcus Peters, calf injury, did not practice, Jason Pierre-Paul, illness, left tackle Bryce Staley, who is resting, and right tackle Kevin Zeitler, rest non-injury related, but they do have, at least for right now, three of their guys, their starters, which is two on defense with Calais Campbell with the knee and Marcus Peters, cornerback with a calf, and then quarterback Lamar Jackson. Uh, there's a lot of question right now when John Pelzer was reporting if John Harbaugh was going to acknowledge if Lamar Jackson would be practicing or not. Remember what happened last year? They went 0-6 without him the rest of the way. So we'll find out what happens. Steelers right now got a chance right now keep their playoff hopes alive, trying to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Baltimore Ravens in this contest right now. The Steelers, who still lead the all-time series versus Ravens at 29-24. They need to win out. If they shoot themselves in the foot by losing this game, they eliminate themselves. So we'll see what happens. Once again, you guys can follow me on social media. You can follow me on Twitter at MassCTR and on Instagram at MassCTNation. Always leave it. Don't be trolling. Be rolling. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. And this one's for Franco. Let's make the rest of the season immaculate. I gone. Thank you for watching the Mass Steel podcast with your host, Charles Prodigy Richey, here on YouTube. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And for all the latest Mass Steel podcast episodes, feel free to download them on Mixcloud, Anchor.fm, and SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts.